What's up, y'all? Today is February 1st, and if you're like me, you've been suffering these cold temperatures for the past week and a half or 2 weeks. 38, 40 degrees feels pretty good, which means it's time for another round of oxalic acid vaporizations. Haven't really been able to do it in a couple weeks. This will be round 4 on my bees this year. I noticed last time I did it, it was about 20, 25 degrees, and after I would uncover the hive entrance, the bees that came to the hive entrance, whenever they'd break cluster inside the hive, it seemed like I was actually killing some of my bees because they were freezing to death, I think, by the entrance. So I don't think I'm going to do any more vaporizations unless it's about 35 to 45 degrees. That way they're all in the hive, but they're not clustered so tight that it makes them break cluster and potentially even kill some brood because they're not able to keep the brood warm whenever they break cluster. So I'm just gonna, learn from experience like everybody else does, I guess, but I'm gonna hold off and wait for these kinds of temperatures to keep on hammering those mites during the winter time. So we're gonna get after it here in a second. I just kind of want to get a look at everything. I'll show you the bee yard real quick. Before we got all this snow, I just took some materials I had laying around and kind of made some windbreaks. And then after the snow hit and the really cold temperatures were going to come in behind it, I came by like where all the bare ground is. I just used my feet and kicked snow up around the hives to give them even more insulation. Hopefully it helped them. Dang sure it didn't hurt them. But I've noticed since I put these candy boards on, yep, there's a bee flying right there on that yellow hive. I face the entrances on my candy boards. This is south here, so they're using that as an upper entrance right now. See that bee right there? What's up, girlie? There's a couple bees. There's one there, one there. I think that one might be a dead bee, but cool. That just tells me that if they're able to fly in 38-degree weather, which I know they're capable of, obviously, but that just tells me that the cluster isn't really tight inside the hive, so it's be a good time to get that vaporization amongst all the bees. I feel like whenever they're clustered too tight, the crystals don't work as well that adhere to their hairs on their body. It doesn't make contact with as many bees. I think while they're broke up inside the hive, though, whenever they're not clustered tightly, that vaporization just coats everything so much better. So yeah, I'll probably tomorrow's supposed to be 55, and then kind of chilly after that for a couple days, and then back up into the 50s again for the foreseeable future. So it may be an early spring this year. I don't want it to be like a drought spring by any means, because I feel like that would really hurt the nectar flow. But definitely make the bees kickstart a little sooner anyway, if we do have an early spring. But I'm going to take all this windbreak and garb, more rather, that I put on the hives and get it out of the way, because most of oxalic acid holes on these hives are on the back sides. Yeah, like that hole right there, that's where I stick the nozzle in, so I'm gonna have to move them all anyway just to do the vaporizations. So that's what we're doing. You know, it's been cold whenever 40 degrees feels really nice. And I got my hood up. It is quite windy. It's about 20-mile-an-hour wind today. So anyways, I'm gonna get these bees vaporization. Rising in temperature quite quickly, using those 8 amp an hour DeWalt batteries again. I still don't know why this phone, I haven't looked into it yet, why there must be some sort of polarization on the lens, because whenever you look at this screen in real life, not through this camera, it doesn't have that blinking look to it, so it must be polarized somehow. All right, round 4 complete on this yard. I don't know if you guys noticed in the double deep colony always hit twice, just because it's double deep. And I'm still using a full 4-gram dose. I don't know if that little thing that the vaporizer comes with that holds the acid will hold more than that, but I've got it threaded out as far as it'll go before it unthreads, so it'll hold at least 4, maybe 4.5 grams. So I'm definitely giving them a good healthy dose of it. So anyways, yard's looking good so far. I've only seen a few bees come out while I was vaporizing, but the main one, both these colonies right here had a couple come out. I didn't see any try to come out of the top entrance or anything like that on these 2 hives. Those 2, I know that box right there is full of bees. And so are these 2 hives here. This hive here on the left, and there's still a couple. They had several bees come out of that top entrance, so they're up there eating that sugar or that candy board that I made for them for sure. This hive over here, I didn't see, but just a couple bees maybe come out. But anyways, on to the next yard, baby. Take care of the bees, they'll take care of you, right? Back at the timber yard again. Getting the old vaporizer warmed back up. Started about 45 degrees when I got here. I think it took about, it's 20-25 minute drive from last yard to this yard. So once that sucker gets warmed up, we're going to spray some more crystals in the air. I was going to do this yard yesterday because I came out here and cut a bunch of firewood for my father-in-law, but I didn't want to vaporize these bees as cold as it was. It was like 8-10 degrees yesterday, and I didn't want to make them break cluster inside the hive and kill a bunch of bees in the process, maybe. So anyways, I'm going to get all the snow knocked off the top of the lids and get these girls vaporized. We're just about there. It's at 4:25, 4:30. So once she hits 4:45, it's time to vaporize. Well, that's all done. Everybody's entrances are open. They got a brick on them. There's a few bees at entrances on a couple of hives, especially this last one. Zoom in for y'all. Look at that little bitty cluster of bees. Can't wait for spring. So ready to have 50 hives. We got 10 in this yard. As far as I can tell, there should be 10 alive in this yard. And then, let's see, 11 in the last one. So we did 12 doses in total in the first yard in this video, because we did that double deep colony twice, and we did 4. So we got 15 charges out of 1 battery this go around. I think last time it was 16. But it's better than dragging a cord around, I guess, for the amount of hives I have. So I really don't want to, I'm not looking forward to, well, wouldn't say looking forward to, but I would rather not use a generator to do oxalic acid vaporizations if I don't have to. But if you're a commercial guy, though, I can totally see it being a cheaper option than just using batteries, because them things eat batteries up, making that amount of heat. So, what was I going to say? Bees are all good to go. I scraped off all the boards on the other side of the pallets on all the hives but the one that has 2 on it. So those can dry out, hopefully. And I'm going to check and look in here while I'm here. I'd imagine there's probably not any bees up here right now, but I just want to kind of see what they've done. They still got some work to do on that protein powder. I'm using Mega Bee. I've used Ultra. I mean, I'm not a commercial guy or nothing. I'm sure it's all good, but I've used what is it, Ultra Bee? I think I used. Only bought like a 10-pound thing of that one time about a year ago. And they used it up just fine, but I wanted to try that Mega Bee out because it comes in a big 50-pound bag. And then these are still empty. I'll just leave the snow on top of these, let it melt. That way they've got another water source that's also empty. So once things get rolling, I'll probably open feed these girls to stimulate them before our main nectar flow starts. My plan, got a single deep hive. I'm wanting to say about between 5 and 7 boxes of drawn comb, if I remember correctly. I'm going to do what Ian Stepler does. I'm going to put X amount of open comb in a second deep whenever these girls are starting to expand this spring. I'm going to take that as my split. My phone just died. I didn't realize I had like 3% battery. I thought it completely turned off, but the screen just turned so dark I couldn't even see the screen. So anyways, I just charged it for a second. And yeah, I'm gonna make those girls double deep colonies and take, like, right whenever the honey flow starts, I'm gonna try and have the main colonies at like 5 to 6 frames of brood in the bottom deep with a queen excluder above them, and then drawn comb for supers above them. But before that, whenever they're in build-up mode, and to keep them from swarming, I'm gonna let them build up in that second deep and get them build up good, and basically having a whole another hive established, more or less. Other than the field force, will go back to the original hive. But anyways, that's my plan so far. One more thing. Earlier I noticed the nozzle on my vaporizer was clogging up real bad, and I couldn't even get my copper wire to go into the end of it here. But I let it sit here for probably 5 minutes when I was showing you guys the hives just a moment ago, and then I noticed all this kind of black stuff came out. Even though I cleaned it out last week, I'm just taking some snow and letting it vaporize into the vaporizer, kind of clean itself. Yep, there it goes. The end. Phone died again, so see you guys on the next one. Happy beekeeping.